Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today, we are gathered today to pay tribute to the brand known as NXT. The NXT that started, not the NXT from 2010 to 2012, not even the NXT from 2012 to 2014. I mean 2014, the year the WWE Network dropped and came out. From there until tonight. Because tonight is the last episode of NXT before they relaunch next week with that ugly ass color scheme, the terrible theme, and the edict goes down, they rebrand, and everything that we knew as NXT, the little shred of NXT that was left, is gone. This brand was built by Triple H, William Regal, the late great Dusty Rhodes when he was alive. Shawn Michaels came into the fold. Road Dogg came into the fold. And creative writers and people that Triple H knew and needed for this brand all built this brand to be the number one brand in all of wrestling. Ever since NXT came to the WWE Network in 2014, we have seen the likes of Kevin Owens, Neville, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor twice, Samoa Joe twice, current Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura, and many, many more come through and give us classic matches and moments from takeovers that started at Full Sail as just a way to give NXT its own pay-per-view quality type show, to a year and a half after, because they did TakeOver, they did NXT Arrival, and then a couple takeovers, and then the next year we were at TakeOver in Brooklyn SummerSlam weekend. And we've seen matches of the candidates from indie legends like Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, to up-and-comers like the Velveteen Dream, Alexa Bliss, Baron Corbin, all those guys, men and women. Two mainstays on the main roster today, and one who was on the rise to be a perennial big star in WWE, who flamed out due to backstage problems and accusations and fell from grace, never to be seen again and probably never be heard from again. But there were many more. Over the years, NXT went from developmental to the number one brand in WWE. The takeovers were just, when you had a takeover coming up, Royal Rumble weekend, WrestleMania weekend, SummerSlam weekend, Survivor Series weekend, we as fans knew there ain't no way that WWE is going to be able to top what we get on a Saturday night. We've had Andrade versus Johnny Gargano in one of the best matches in WWE history, the first 5-star match in WWE in over a decade and a half or whatever it was. You had Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls, which in my opinion wasn't one of the greatest matches because, yes, that final fall was fantastic. It was. If that final fall was all there was, it would be an all-time classic. But you can't take away the other 2 falls that they just sped through just so they could get to that 3rd fall and then have the actual match. But we've seen rumors and talk that main roster stars were getting jealous of NXT takeovers because they, up until recently, takeovers would be the night before a big event, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. And if you would have one big classic match or 2 big matches on that show that blew anything out of the water, of course there's going to be jealousy. Talent got jealousy because it's like, wait a minute, we're up here, we're the main stars, we're supposed to be the big deal, and we're supposed to try and top that. This is not fucking fair. That would be the feeling coming out from the top. NXT grew so big, it was the most talked about brand in all of professional wrestling, and gave fans who were tired of the same shit, different week, 50-50 booking of Raw and SmackDown creative, something to enjoy during the week with storylines that mattered, titles that actually had meaning, title matches that weren't seen out of the blue and actually had a story built to them. characters and talents that people actually were invested in. When Johnny Gargano was fighting Andrade to try and win that NXT championship for the first time, his classic at TakeOver Philadelphia, one of the greatest matches in this company's history. And honestly, I thought they were going to do the title change, but they didn't. And when Johnny Gargano failed to win, you just felt the emotion of, damn, he was so close, and he's going to be champion. And then you saw, as him and his wife were backing up, Tommaso Ciampa come from behind and crack him with that crutch. How pissed off the fans were. Tommaso Ciampa, for a good portion of his return from that knee injury, he didn't have entrance music. Why? Because he was so hated by the fans at Full Sail University, anywhere he went, that he didn't need music. Their booing and yelling and jeers at him were all he needed. You didn't find this on Raw or SmackDown ever. This kind of investments in this. The Johnny Gargano Tommaso Ciampa rivalry from Philadelphia all the way up to TakeOver, which New York, which unfortunately we did not get that conclusion at that time, which was going to be the 2 out of 3 falls. Instead, we got Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, which again was a good match. But just how much we were invested in that. Now, granted, when NXT went to where it is now, they kind of milked it as much as they could, and it kind of watered it down. But for the original feud before he got injured and had to go away with neck surgery, we were invested. We wanted to see Johnny Gargano take the NXT championship away from Tommaso Ciampa. Everyone remembers when Tommaso Ciampa won the NXT championship from Aleister Black, how it was Johnny Gargano's fault, and how everyone was like so pissed that the Blackheart, the most vile man in NXT, was your NXT champion. It was just great booking. Then, on the way to the next TakeOver, Brooklyn, if I'm correct, I think it was Brooklyn, and Aleister Black got injured, what did NXT do? They crafted a storyline behind it. They give you a reason why he wasn't going to be in that match. Somebody assaulted him. Who took out Aleister Black? And only one person knew. Nikki Cross. When that happened, what did we all wonder? And like, you watch when Aleister Black made his return, before Nikki told him what was going on, you could see and hear the crowd chant, "Nikki's got a secret." And everybody was invested in who attacked Aleister Black. And then when it turned out to be Johnny Gargano, it was a shock to everybody. Because for the first time, Johnny Gargano, the cold babyface that nobody expected to be a vile, evil bastard, turned semi-heel for a little bit. And unfortunately, that was supposed to lead to Gargano Ciampa at TakeOver, and it just never happened. But we had characters and everything that felt like they were a big deal and gave us fans hope for the future of this company. You couldn't tell me that you felt Aleister Black could be a perennial main eventer at WrestleMania on a yearly basis after everything that Triple H did for that man. Johnny Gargano could go up from NXT to the main roster, just plop him down, be Johnny freaking Wrestling, and be a guy who could carry this company on his back for years to come. Adam Cole, the most recently departed from WWE, Adam Cole, baby, spent 4 years in NXT. 4 years as a top guy, longest reigning NXT champion, which with the revamp going on, whoever beats Samoa Joe for it is probably going to hold that title for a long time, so they could be the longest reigning NXT champion, so they can erase Adam Cole's record from the history books, because Vince McMahon is a petty piece of shit. But everybody's like, just from the minute he won that championship, his intro into the company in 2017 was awesome. The only thing I would have did completely different from the original, the birth of the Undisputed Era, was I would not have debuted Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish as feed to Aleister Black weeks before TakeOver. Everything they did at TakeOver was perfect. Red Dragon destroying Sanity after winning the tag team titles. Them cornering Drew McIntyre while Adam Cole came out of the crowd, came in, and all three men beat up Drew McIntyre. One of the biggest pops of that year. War Games. We got War Games for years. The first one was a little questionable, but after that, all the other War Games have been pretty decent, pretty good. Something that WWE would not touch because Vince McMahon doesn't want to use things that he didn't create. We got, NXT got Halloween Havoc, the Great American Bash, in your house. Things that people want to see, nostalgia runs, which people love to see and use. It's just, NXT did so much with talent and championships and giving us hope for the future of WWE that we had not seen in a very long time. The heart, the passion delivered every single week by the talent, the production, Triple H and his crew, the fans at Full University or wherever they went, even the ones inside the Capitol Wrestling Center, they still have the passion and the heart of NXT. The crowd is still there for now. It made most weeks because before they went to the USA Network, NXT was taped weeks in advance. So you would have 4 hours of taping in one day, which in my opinion was a little ridiculous. You could have did 2 sets of tapings on Wednesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday, but I digress. And you could tell in the fan base, in the fans, that first week, they were loud, they were raucous, they were just having a good time. About that 4th week, you could tell. And there was sometimes they taped 5 episodes, so that was even worse. When the fan base would be from an all-time high to a very low. But it was some of the best wrestling on TV. This was not sports entertainment. This was professional fucking wrestling. We love professional wrestling in this world. We don't want sports entertainment. That's Raw and SmackDown. Up until recently, NXT was professional wrestling. But as it was still deemed a development brand by those in charge, WWE, namely Vince McMahon himself, all our hopes for the talent who would be called up, majority of them of the time, whatever Triple H and his team worked so hard to build stars for the future would be beaten out of the talent and would be buried so far under the fans would stop caring about them, and the talent would become just another cog in the machine, leaving the fans of NXT fearing the worst. I hear this from everybody every time we would get to a SummerSlam, maybe a WrestleMania, and the TakeOver before, you would have that talent you would see a talent lose a match, stay in the ring, the crowd would do the thank you, clap, clap, thank you, clap, clap, and they were going up to the main roster. They would bow and have their final send-off, their curtain call before they went to the main roster. And then you would hear rumbling, and then you would see them come up, and they would flounder. Look at Karrion Kross. Look what they have done to Karrion Kross. This guy needed only one thing. It sure as hell wasn't suspenders and a Viking helmet or a gladiator helmet. All he needs is Scarlet. You put him you put him on the stage with Scarlet right beside him, and you have yourself one marketable dude. But they killed that. Day 1 on the main roster, he comes in, faces Jeff Hardy, loses in less than 2 minutes. And you want to know what makes it even worse for that? What was Jeff Hardy doing on Monday? Jeff Hardy was chasing the 24/7 championship. I bitched about that last night. We're not going to go into that rant, but that just shows you that anybody in creative who tried to defend Karrion Kross getting beat in seconds for let the story play out just shows you last night there was no story. Jeff Hardy got, and honestly, I think COVID was the best thing that happened to Jeff Hardy because we wouldn't have to have him and Karrion Kross, him beat Karrion Kross 2 weeks in a row, which was supposed to happen. But you're going to take a guy who at the time was the NXT champion and have him beaten in record time. Just go back a couple years to when Kevin Owens, NXT champion in 2015, answers John Cena's open challenge. He's the NXT champion. He's holding the NXT championship, which in my opinion, I like the original NXT championship better than the current one. But he's holding that title up. Comes into the ring, power bombs John Cena, steps on the United States Championship as he raises the NXT Championship, saying, "My title's more superior than this little toy." Goes to the Elimination Chamber and beats John Cena clean, establishing Kevin Owens as somebody to watch. What happened? What has happened in the last 6 years? Jealousy. Vince McMahon is jealous of what his son-in-law does. His son-in-law has been named Booker of the Year a couple times. He has been praised for his takeovers, his product, how NXT doesn't even, like, if you took the WWE logo out of that NXT logo and just made it an NXT logo, and you watched NXT as it is, and there was no trace of the WWE logo anywhere, and you watched it for about a month, and then someone says, "Yeah, it's part of the WWE family," you'd be like, you as a casual would be like, "There's no way this is owned by WWE. It's just no way." Just look at Raw and SmackDown and then look at NXT. And NXT was just, it was great for the longest time. But favorite talent would get called up to Raw or SmackDown knowing they wouldn't be the same in the hands of the old man. As many fans, many times, would see a fan favorite be pushed to the moon in NXT. Say there's no way Vince McMahon could fuck up Aleister Black. No way Vince McMahon could fuck up Karrion Kross. No way Vince McMahon can fuck up this character. No way Vince McMahon can fuck up that character. No way he could screw up any talent that Triple H put his blood, sweat, and tears into, his heart, soul, and passion into building a fan base around and getting people to care. Only for that talent to come up and kill them. No way you should have been able to fucking kill the War Raiders. What happened? They come up, they're the Viking experience for a week, they become the Viking Raiders the very next week after that, during the pandemic, what do we have? The Street Profits and the Viking Raiders doing sports, like a pentathlon or whatever it was. Anything you can do, I can do better bullshit. It's just, and it's, Mick Foley put it best, and I am gonna find that so I can put that on here. Mick Foley said it best, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But NXT is just, it's not the same, and it hasn't been. I haven't watched a full NXT show since the beginning of 2020. Now, I tried to do the thing, watch AEW Live, watch NXT the next day, because it would be on the network, it wouldn't be a problem, but you just started watching it. And honestly, the first 2 episodes they did on the USA Network, where it was 1 hour on the USA Network and the second hour on the WWE Network, those two episodes they did clearly were what Triple H was planning to do for that next set of tapings, because the first episode of NXT on USA was actually supposed to be a taping for the next 4 weeks. But of course that didn't happen because they went to what they are now, on TV. It's just, I can't believe Vince McMahon thinks all this. it's just you see a guy like Aleister Black, you could drop him on Raw, SmackDown, keep him as he is, boom, good. Ricochet, drop him on Raw, SmackDown, put him at and just lets him be fucking Ricochet. What did they do? They added a sound to his ring entrance, took away anything that felt special about him, has him do the same fucking spots every single goddamn match, and Ricochet has been nothing but a cog in the machine, soon to be running after the 24/7 championship, which I'm pretty sure he has already. If they would just let Triple H work what he did for a Gargano, an Adam Cole, an Aleister Black, a Neville, a Kevin Owens, and these other guys, Finn Balor. Now, Finn Balor came up in 2016 when they did the draft. He was the first ever Universal Champion. And then he got injured and was never the same again. Year after year, week after week, month after month, day after day, he was on their TV. They even paired him with Gallows and Anderson when AJ Styles was on SmackDown as the Balor Club for about a bit. And then, when everything didn't work out, he ended up going back down to NXT, resurrecting his career for a bit, having another NXT championship run, carrying a crossover, coming up to the main roster, and having a pretty good match with Roman Reigns after being made look like a fool when Baron Corbin beat the hell out of him, trying to steal his world title spot at SummerSlam, only for John Cena to take that spot. And then we know what happened 2 years ago. 2019. October 2nd, AEW makes its debut on TNT, 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Before that, 2 weeks prior to that, NXT ran 2 live shows on the USA Network to try and get that jump start. They wanted to get people to say, hey, fuck those new guys, come here, we're going to be the wrestling show you want to see. And honestly, because we were in between takeovers, the 2 episodes didn't really feel like I said, it felt like they took 4 episodes of NXT and put them into 2. That's exactly what it felt like. So, yeah. Then we started AEW. And I'm going to admit, AEW's first few months were a very rocky time. They did have some good shows, but they were in the feeling out process. They were like, if you look at AEW on Wednesday night in 2019 and compare it to 2021, it is 2 different shows. Absolutely 2 different shows. But it's a weekly TV show on Wednesday night, even though none of us, no fan wanted a Wednesday Night War. You can tell me, like, any WWE main shill could say, I wanted NXT to drive AEW out of business, then you're a piece of shit and you're lying. Nobody but Vince McMahon wanted a wrestling war. Vince McMahon said, fuck you, took NXT off the WWE Network at 1 hour, struck a deal with the USA Network to make NXT a 2-hour live show in hopes of killing AEW. And after about 70 plus weeks of getting the royal shit kicked out of them, only winning maybe a couple times, the shows went head-to-head earlier this year, the Tuesday after WrestleMania. NXT officially threw in the white towel and moved to Tuesday nights, where they have been ever since, basically admitting defeat, and Triple H and his team were to blame. Triple H did not want a Wednesday Night War. Now, I've said this before, some places, I don't know if I said it here, I've actually said it on social media before. If you would have taken NXT at its 1 hour spot and put it up against an hour of Monday Night Raw, I'm watching that episode of NXT over Monday Night Raw, because NXT, if you let NXT be NXT, it's going to be a fucking great time. But then, I didn't want it to be like this. I didn't want NXT, like, if NXT is going to go up against AEW, then you need to have NXT be NXT and not Vince McMahon's watered down version of NXT. And NXT just felt like it was getting watered down. You started seeing more WWE main roster elements into it, storylines that just didn't make sense, things that you would see on Raw and SmackDown being put on TV on Wednesday nights. And then the rumors started to surface not too long ago of NXT changing and a new NXT coming from the ashes of a burnt down house that Triple H and his crew spent years busting their asses to build and for everybody to admire and love. And then we saw it a couple weeks ago. A new theme, a new colorful NXT logo that looks like you signed something on Nickelodeon in the 90s. And that next week, the old NXT will be no more, and the new NXT will be taking its place. New edicts on what to expect from NXT. No more midgets, no more indie talents. They have to be talent from the Performance Center only. Guys like Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, Samoa Joe, Kyle O'Reilly, they will all end up getting phased out eventually. So NXT will be a developmental brand on the USA Network, and nobody's going to want to watch that. Why would I want to watch NXT where it's all about trying to teach young people how to work against young people? More talents will probably be released. The Triple H era is over. NXT and the era of Vince and Bruce Pritchard running things is about to begin. I wanted to take this time to share my thoughts and pay tribute to what was a really awesome brand as we say goodbye to the real NXT and hope well for the future what is once the premier brand of wrestling in all of WWE and the world. NXT won't be missed. This NXT has been missed, will be missed completely as it is coming to an end. We will not see anything like this again in WWE. Triple H built this thing from the ground up. He went to Vince, and Vince told him, go ahead, I don't care. Because there was no competition. Why would Vince McMahon care what happens in his own company when there's nothing to worry about, when there's no competition? And then Vince McMahon will get on his budget meetings and be like, "Oh, there ain't competition. We compete with everything." Oh, really? If AEW wasn't competition, why would you take NXT off the WWE Network at 1 hour where everybody was enjoying it? You didn't have to watch it immediately, but people were watching it. Why would you take it off and put it at 2 hours against the company that you say isn't competition? Why would you counter program when the AEW is doing a special like Fight for the Fallen, which is a charity special they usually do? They end up donating money from that event. Why would you take that? Or when they did Fyter Fest 2 weeks in a row last year, you would sit there and go, well, we're going to do Great American Bash 2 weeks in a row. Oh, they got something coming in October, we're going to do Halloween Havoc at the same time. Just total, utter bullshit. Everything. And then, after NXT was moved from Wednesdays to Tuesdays, Triple H would go out there and say, oh, there was no war. It was all just in everybody's head. Oh, there was no war because you lost. You lost. If you would have won, you would have sat there and boasted about it and said, we kicked their asses. They were nothing. They were chumps. They never stood a chance because we're WWE and they were out of their league. Yet you let one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world leave and show up on Sunday, this past Sunday. Adam Cole signed to AEW. Why? Because Vince McMahon refused to bend to let him keep his Twitch channel. A community, which I'm a content creator. I'm not as big as them and I probably never will be. But when you're a content creator and you're building an audience, you start finding, talking to those people, and you become friends with them on a personal level. You become more interactive with them. There's ones that you continue to see. I do have some of those when I keep in touch with still from when I was doing a lot more streaming than I am now. It's just Vince McMahon just wanted him to cut that off 100% completely, and I understand Adam Cole when he was like, fuck you, Vince, I ain't doing that. So, letting him go. Letting all these talents go. Letting an AEW bolster their roster. Not even attempting to get Bryan Danielson to come back and sign and stay there because you don't give a shit. Not letting them get CM Punk because you wanted to play games. Just everything about this company is going down. And for a very long time, like for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, NXT was the saving grace of this company because we saw week in and week out, month in and month out, takeover after takeover, that if you let these men and women go out there and be what they have been building in NXT on the main roster, this company would have been set for years to come. But because Vince McMahon is so set in his ways, NXT is spiraling out of control and down, and is going to be lower than it has ever been before. I feel sorry for anybody who is signed to this company. I feel sorry for anybody who aspires to go to this company. I feel sorry for those who work in NXT, because the guys like a Roderick Strong, a Kyle O'Reilly, and Samoa Joe, who is the NXT champion, as soon as he loses that title to whoever he loses to, guarantee he's going to get his walking papers again, because Vince McMahon doesn't see the need for anybody over the age of 25 years old. NXT is dead. Here's the thing. If you want to rebrand NXT, you might as well change the letters too. Call it whatever the fuck you want, but it's not NXT anymore. You could call it colorful lines or whatever. Just call it something else, because you're taking and trying to say this is the same product we saw from 2014 to tonight. And it's not going to be, and we all know it's not going to be. I wish Triple H and his group the best, because they're getting a raw deal. And NXT, as we know it, is dead. And there's not much else I can say. If you watch this, let me know what your fond memories of the NXT era that is coming to an end tonight is. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club, find me on twitch.tv/the and find me on Instagram at the France Club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Fallout to All Out. Until then, my name is the France, and I'll see you guys later.